thank every single one of you for being here and listening to what we have to say about representing you. I come from this group, and it's the only time I actually get nervous because it means so much to me that I get across what it is to serve you and what it is to, okay, I'm trying. And it's just wonderful to be here. I'm Lynette Howard. I am District 2 County Commissioner, and there's lots that we have done together, and there's lots that we're going to go forward and do together. So I'm excited about it. I love all of the wonderful faces in here and the eager faces and new faces. It's wonderful. So please, if you haven't gotten your question in, I don't know if they had a chance to, but get your questions in because this is important. It's important I believe that this race is the closest to home. This is what decides your parks. This is what decides your libraries, your roads, your sewer system, everything. And so that's closest to home. So thank you so much for being here.
To reiterate, thank you again for being here. My name is Benku, and I'm also running to be your next county commissioner. I'm a Georgia native and the grandson of Chinese immigrants who came to Georgia to help engineer the original monorail. I grew up looking at slices of monorail on my grandfather's house because he got awards being the lead project engineer on that project. I'm so proud that now we have one of the safest transit systems in the entire country. I hope to continue my grandfather's legacy by bringing rapid transit to Gwinnett. Yesterday would have been both of my grandfather's birthdays, and my mother's father was a World War II veteran in the Air Force. He also worked for the FBI, and like me, he was a small business owner. I'm a software engineer with over 20 years of entrepreneurial and development experience. I was honored last year that the county gave me the Distinguished Service Award for the most volunteered hours. And so I hope to bring a unique and forward-thinking perspective to the Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
What will you do to ensure that Gwinnett's tax dollars won't be used to pay for MARTA somewhere else?
Well, if you look at the Connect Gwinnett plan and the MARTA contract right now, all the money that's raised in Gwinnett stays in Gwinnett. So that plan has already been approved by MARTA, surprisingly, that's actually extremely favorable to Gwinnetians. So we've already done the work to do that, and we can make sure that we have a representation on MARTA board as part of this MARTA referendum in March. So we need to get out and vote for this referendum, and we need people in office who will fight for transit in Gwinnett.
Thank you so much. We worked really hard on that. We worked through the legislature to pass House Bill 730, and we worked on a contract with MARTA. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to read this awesome contract. It's a historic contract. For every penny that's collected, 29% of it will go directly to MARTA to work on the bus system and getting that up and running in a better way than Gwinnett County can do it, because we're not good at that. And the other part of it, the 71%, will stay here in Gwinnett County with the approval of Gwinnett County citizens. So we all get to decide if this is what we want to do. If we want to do this contract, it will happen in March. So get out and vote for that.
Why are we holding a special election in March for the transportation referendum at huge taxpayer expense?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but September 7th is when the MARTA board signed the contract. It could not go on the ballot. It has to have its state election law that it has to be 90 days before the election, so we missed the time window of getting it on the ballot. The MARTA board tabled it for a month, and so that's why it happened on September 7th. There is a possibility of the school board having a bond referendum. I know that Mary Kay is here in the room, and so that would have been money coming from the school to go on the ballot, and now we will share it with the school board. And so the only other option was to do it in the next presidential election, and I don't think that that's acceptable.
So I was very disappointed when it was chosen to go in March instead of November. This this decision was made actually before the deadline, before the 90 days, and there was no need to have it approved by the MARTA board before we could vote to have it on the November ballot. So that could have happened. Furthermore, that's a lot of money and a lot of extra time that's inconveniencing the voters. And we need to let the voters decide. This is an important issue, and we need to let as many Gwinnettians weigh in on this issue as possible.
Do you support local election procedures that provide for a verifiable vote recount?
Yes, I'm very much in favor of verifiable results. One option is paper ballots, but there's also ways of doing receipts to make sure that you can see what you voted is actually what got tabulated, and you have a paper trail that can actually be verified. So you can go back after the fact to make sure the election results are real. We've had having issues with elections in various cities where you get 600% of the people voting, which doesn't add up. So we need to strengthen our election integrity, and that comes in the county. We need to be adding more resources to elections, adding additional voting days, adding additional absentee ballots, and making it easier for people to vote, not making it harder for them to vote. We have a great resource in our satellite voting days here in Gwinnett, where you can go to any precinct, any of the early voting locations, it doesn't matter which precinct you're in, and vote. And we should be able to do that across the state and across the county.
Having honest elections are the most important thing. I think it's what our country stands on, and we need to have, we need to verify everything. We need people at the polls volunteering that are honest and making sure that that our elections go well. We need them well trained. We need people that are watching the polls on both parties. We need participation in our elections, and I hope that we never find 600 voters that are anywhere in Gwinnett. We have 1 million people, and we owe it to every citizen to make sure that our elections are honest.
What are your priorities for transportation for our area?
Awesome question. Transportation is a lot of different things. We've been working on it really hard. We worked on it with the legislature, we worked on it with the federal level, and we worked on it locally. We just did our comprehensive plan for transportation. We did it for transit, and we also did it for our trails and sidewalks. That's important too, because we have a lot of people that could go and get to where they need to go without even getting in the car. So there's all sorts of different modes of transportation. We have to make sure that we're looking at all of them. We're being responsible, and we're doing it together. We all have done it together. We've done great. We set up the cities together. We can do transportation, we can do transit, and we can do trails together.
As my opponent said, there's been a lot of plans and plans to make plans about transportation. You can't hear me? Is that better?
No, I'm recommending you.
Thank you. So there's lots of plans, but we need to be doing more. We need to actually be doing things. The Connect Gwinnett plan is a good start, but there are whole areas that are left out, like all around Lilburn. We need a network that can adapt to bottlenecks like the I-85 bridge collapse. We need to have a robust system where you can get around the county and have a useful system. And there are things we can do with our existing resources to do that now, and we don't have to wait for C-SPLOST or a special amendment.
County commissioners have to be leaders, but can't order things to be done. Tell us about your management style. Give us examples of how it's been successful.
Well, I stepped up to be president of my HOA when it was on the verge of bankruptcy. I had to work with a lot of different political views, but we work together because there's a lot more that we have in common than we have that separates us. So I work with people, bring out their strengths, and make sure that we focus on our common goals, and make sure that we move forward using technology, using skills that I have available to me. I've been involved in the Gwinnett 101 Citizens Academy, and I'm on their Alumni Advisory Board. And I've been repeatedly asked to volunteer with Discovery High School and help mentor their people. I've mentored several students through the Georgia Tech Mentor Jackets program. So I like to lead, give guidance on a vision, and then let people all use their own special talents to get that job done.
All right.
Management style. I think the management style that I have that's strongest is from this room. UPCCA really trained me of how the whole group can come together. We make the best decisions together. We have the most open county as far as making decisions from the citizens of any county in Georgia. We have 159 counties, and so we do it the best in Gwinnett County. We have citizen advisory committees for all sorts of major important issues. So that's my style, but I do want to go back and say, if you fail to plant, you plan to fail. And so we had the best transportation department in the state, and we make decisions, and I love to talk more about that.
We know that District 40 covers a number of districts, a number of areas. What are your priorities for the people in this room in Gwinnett County and Peachtree Corners?
Well, probably the most important thing for all of us in this room, for businesses, for our homeowners, for everybody, is water. And water is a really, really, really important thing. I don't think any of us would care for having brown water coming out of our spigots. We have been great stewards in Gwinnett County. I don't know how many of you know about the Wayne Hill Water Treatment Plant. Okay, we got to go on a tour. You got to go find it. Because we purify water there, and we return water back to Lake Lanier, 30 million gallons of water a day that's cleaner than what we take out. And that's really, really important. That is the reason why the state is doing so well in the water wars, is because of the good stewardship that we're doing here in Gwinnett County. I learn all the time. I make sure that we have the best water that we're doing, the best innovation, and we have the Water Innovation Center getting ready to start, and I'd love to tell you about it, but I'm out of time.
Thanks so much. You are totally right. We have a wonderful water treatment facility here. So if you sign up for the Gwinnett 101 Citizens Academy, you'll learn all about it, right? So my priority is that we have great water, and that plant is wonderful. But what we need to do is use that as an example, and that shouldn't be the only thing that we're known for. We should be leading in all sorts of other areas, like responsible development, like fully funding our safety and our police force. There's so many other things besides water that we need to address in the county, from transportation and using our resources more efficiently. So there's a lot to do besides water.
Obviously, there's no possible way to ask all these questions, but I think what we are going to do is allow the candidates to ask each other a question.
Yes, you mentioned earlier that we had the best transportation system, but then Gwinnett was also not good at the bus system. Why has it taken so long to address this issue of the growing congestion and traffic that we've had in Gwinnett? And specifically, what can we do to improve transit in Gwinnett in the short term, as well as should the referendum not pass?
Wow. Okay. So, transit in the bus system, it costs money. It costs a lot of money. These buses are very expensive. We have federal dollars for them, and we've done the best we can. But we do transportation better than everybody. I don't know how many of you have find potholes in your neighborhood and when you go to and from work. We try to address them quickly. If you go to any other jurisdiction, you won't find that. So we do it very well. We have worked over and over again with the federal government to get more buses, but we also have to make sure that we're good stewards of our citizens' money. I don't know if you know this, but we are one of 36 counties in the country that has the AAA bond rating, and that's a AAA bond rating from all of the rating agencies in the country. And so that makes our buying power a lot better, and it will help us with making sure that our transit going forward in the future is the best. Before I was commissioner, I worked with this group, and we worked on eliminating a Lowe's that was going to go right in the middle of our community. And we have the Forum. How many people know the Forum? It's a wonderful thing. We also have a ramp that's going double up from 141 onto Peachtree Industrial. That took with the cooperation because it's a state road. So I would like to know, before you're commissioner, what are the projects that you have worked in with the community in your area?
Well, as I said, I stepped up to be president of my HOA when I was on the verge of bankruptcy, and we worked together, and we were not only saved it from bankruptcy, but we were able to grow the reserves every year since. We've actually also worked with the developer of the new property right next to us, and worked on a win-win situation where we got the community involved and the developer involved to have the developer actually listen to our needs. They made a lot of concessions that helps the neighborhood, and in return we've also gotten the developer to invest in our neighborhood and give us a lot more matching dollars and investment of resources so that the whole area can be better. And they, we went to the board. It was the first time they said they had ever had it where both the community and the developer were in unison. We went together, presented a plan that worked for everyone. And I want to see more of that in the Gwinnett County Commission. Typically, the commissioners almost always side with the developers, and I want to see more representation of the people in the communities to make sure that we have responsible development, that we don't have unchecked, overgrown development.
Well, I want to tell you that I ran on Together We Have a Voice. It's what I started with, and it's what I still continue. Together we do have a voice. And the county is really important, the taxes that you pay. And I want to also let you know that I ran as the candidate that has, or not the candidate, I did run as a candidate. I was a planning commissioner that had the least number of red shirts. And a protesting red shirt in the zoning, as many of you have gone through, means a lot. And the reason that I don't have red shirts is because we work together as a community with developers, we work with the homeowners, we work with businesses, we work together to get best development in the county. We have some incredible development that's here in District 2. And so I'm so glad that Davita, you were able to go to the meeting with Davita and Alan Mendenhall, who's in the back of the room. I worked on getting that meeting together. Yeah, there you go. He's a great developer. And we have great developers like that that have vision. How do we do things together that make it so that our kids will be proud to live here? The Masons have their son that moved back after he had his living everywhere else, but and doing his career and building it, but he wanted to come back here and raise his family. So I want to tell you that the reason I got into politics is because I care about my kids. Pat and I chose to live in Peachtree Corner because we care about our kids. And I just want to thank a few people, because there's many of you that I need to thank. But I have Diane Gornell and Colleen Fong in the front. They went and I can't tell you how many times they've shared how to grow plants and picking out seeds. When my kids were really little, they went with frog boots. And Debbie Mason took my son to kindergarten to find out what Simpson was all about. And I have several teachers. Madam Wheeler, she taught my daughter French, but she also taught her all sorts of life lessons, as well as I want to thank Pat Ruscini. My son wouldn't have gotten his Eagle Scout without her.
And first off, I want to thank the UPCCA for hosting us all here, and thank you, Jim, for moderating. And thank you all for staying so late. 20 years ago, Google didn't exist. Gwinnett was less than 500,000 people, and I had already created some of the first websites on the internet. Now, we have supercomputers that can fit on our wrists. Gwinnett is almost 1 million people, and yet there's still politics as usual in the county commission. We can't keep playing by a 19th century playbook and expect to compete in the 21st century and beyond. We need a transit system worthy of a major metropolitan area. We need to fully fund our police force and make sure that we restore the trust and cooperation with our communities. We need to support our officers and our public servants, our seniors and our students, our businesses and our communities, so that we can work together to improve Gwinnett. We need to utilize our existing resources more efficiently and lead by example by upgrading our transportation, representation, and communication. I have unique skills and a perspective that does not, and frankly has never existed on the Board of Commissioners. There's a big difference between using technology and creating it. I've already started affecting change and breaking records in my candidacy. Just last month, I created a website, myvoterpage.org. It is a useful, voter-centric tool that allows you to identify quickly which of the 39 candidates on your November ballot care about the issues and values that are important to you as voters, not what some third party cares about. So my name is Ben Koo. My website, last name is spelled K-U, it's simple, 2 letters. My website is koo4u.com, all spelled out. And together, we can work together and upgrade Gwinnett. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you guys. I mean, I love doing this. It's so fun, and y'all always treat everybody who gives their time and effort with such dignity and respect. I really appreciate it. Let's thank the candidates. I know they worked so hard.